All right, today's episode of the Rants of Izzo Show is brought to you by Spreely Media, all things spoken freely. You want free speech platform content like a social media page or podcasts, vidcasts like the Burn Pit podcast, Report and Opine. Maybe someday Lola will have one on there, and maybe even Flex Your Feminine will have one on there. But we could have that. Spreely, 100% listener, viewer funded, so make sure you go there, check it out, share the shit out of it, and there you go. Let's have a fucking show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Happy election day. This is the Rants of Izzo here on Spreely.com. It's a free speech platform, fully free speech. If you haven't been paying attention to the shows that are on here lately, then you have no idea the shit that we all talk about. And more than half the people in this room are not afraid to talk about it. But that's a different story entirely. Or maybe it'll have some tie-in today. I'm sure Lola will figure that out. It is election day. And I asked a great panel of people. I said, dude, you guys just want to fucking hang out on election day, have some commentary? And they said, yeah, we do. So if you're watching, I know there's many of you who are listening on the podcast, but if you're watching, we have up in the top left-hand side, it's Eric Butler from Report and Opine. You could find his work all over the place, and especially on Spreely. You have the top two gentlemen up over of Kayla there. That's Maddie and Scotty from the Burn Pit podcast. Hang on, the honorary, for them. Lola Christina is above me on my right-hand side, everyone's favorite diva, and Kayla from Flex Your Feminine. I love having you guys on. It's fucking fantastic. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for taking time out. It's Eric's normal day, but I appreciate you guys adjusting your schedule to join today.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Eric.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
It is election day. I don't know where we stand. It's noon Chicago time. I voted yesterday, I'm in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. It's a suburb that if you get no traffic, it's about 20 minutes straight shot to the city of Chicago, northwest. And I wasn't going to vote, and I'll let this out of the bag. My father convinced me this time. My dad has always had the opinion, and I massively respect his opinion. No vote, no fucking opinion. And he doesn't want to hear me talk about it later on if I don't vote. He is probably one of the few people on this planet I will never argue politics or sports over because he's always fucking right. So I went, all right, I'm going to go vote. Yesterday, I was actually pretty impressed. I got to my village hall. I didn't have a show yesterday because I got to go vote. So I knew that if I left, I'd get it was a reasonable amount of time before practice. And I got there about 1 o'clock, and I parked the car. I stepped in line at 1:03. And the line backed up about 100 feet all the way from the village hall doors to the curb. And that I've never seen that before. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty impressive. And it took 2 hours to vote. I was kind of blown away that in a village of 60,000 residents, where it was a spot where anybody could vote who was from our township, which probably was several 100,000 people total, especially if it bordered Schaumburg, which has got about, it's a daytime population of 1 million people. They only had 12 booths. They only had 12 damn voting booths for everybody. And during the process, which was cool, is I saw a bunch of people with their kids, and the kids are actually very well behaved. A lot of elderly who were in walkers, wheelchairs. They sat a lot. Bottom line is people came out to fucking vote regardless of their opinion or their views. And it was very, very cordial. Everybody was polite. Nobody did shit. And I was kind of proud to be part of the process today. So, but I'm curious to hear if you guys voted, if you had any experiences or how that went with you guys.
Should I go first?
Mm-hmm. It's a free for all today. I don't give a shit.
I voted, I don't know, maybe like a week ago. I didn't have, dude, it was actually much easier than I thought it was going to be. Like coming from California originally, where everything, bro. I mean, parking the car, like every single thing comes with a litany of red tape. But here in like suburban Houston, it was actually really easy. Now I was a little discouraged because, you know, there did seem, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but then I do also. So, but there's like a bunch of, you know, really strange, like blue hairs and like effeminate dudes in there. And obviously I voted for Trump. That, you know, MAGA hat stays on. Now's the time, right? And as cliche as it sounds, bro, going to that Kamala rally in downtown Houston last week, I'm not exaggerating. Like 97% of the men there were clearly gay. I mean, it's not controversial
faggots.
To say.
Faggots is the word you're looking for.
It's your word, not mine.
No, that's absolutely faggots,
dude. It's just and a lot of the women too. For the record, like, you know, what do they got? Studs for Kamala. You know, these like little black dykes, and they dress up like men, and they cut their hair. You know, they shave their head, and it's like studs for Kamala. It's absolutely crazy, and dude, these people are memes of themselves, bro. Like, they don't realize that they're getting made fun of every single day. They do not have any idea that there's something outside of that realm. And I have my own polling, which maybe we'll get into later, but I think it's more accurate than the laundry list of polls that were constantly being spewed in our face, because you can tell. If you just go through social media, you can tell that the enthusiasm only goes in one way, and I'll expand on that a little bit later. But I guess to bring it full circle, my voting experience last week in Houston was actually very painless, and hopefully it goes. I mean, hopefully it goes.
I just want to bring up the fact you won't say faggot, but you didn't even hesitate to say black dykes.
I never really thought about that, but dude, I guess that's the California in me. I don't know, like. Dude, you have the dykes on bikes. Remember from years ago, they do these gay pride parades, and it's like, oh, it's I guess for whatever reason, the dykes have sort of, you know, it's like the N-bomb. You know, they use it, they like it, and they say it. And something in me, still being from spending most of my life in California, refuses to say the word faggot sometimes. But I'm easing in there now. I guess we're back.
We've had it beaten out of us.
We'll bring it back. Scott, Matt, did you guys even vote?
I am going to vote later today. My wife went and voted this morning. She voted for Trump. I'm going to write somebody in, I believe, and probably later on. But yeah, I'll stand in line and I'll cast my vote because it's my civic duty, right? It's what I have to do as a citizen here in the United States.
Write in Kanye. If you're going to write somebody in, write in Kanye. That's my theory.
Write in ye, yeah.
Yeah, I did not vote yet. I had to start work at 5 a.m, so I came right here. I left work early. So I'm going to go afterwards as well, and I am probably going to write in as well. Our civic duty, just to make that clear, because he brought it up, and I was going to bring it up anyway. Our civic duty is to actually take active measures to fix this country and to be responsible for protecting and defending the Constitution of the United States. Our civic duty isn't to go walk into some polling station, pull a lever, or press a button. That takes absolutely no courage, no bravery, no sacrifice, and no physical or moral strength. Okay? What does take all of those things is to speak out to what the real problems are, to what the real issues is, promote that idea, and to do what the founders did. They sacrificed everything. Pushing a button, pulling a lever for one of these two bought and paid for candidates is not a civic duty, in my opinion. And to your point, Dominic, saying that, and I'm going to vote, but George Carlin said this in a comedy sketch, and he was being serious, though. He was talking about people that made that statement that you made, saying that you don't have an opinion if you don't vote. Well, I completely disagree with that. If you are convinced wholeheartedly and truly that both candidates are detrimental to the country, then not voting is actually the best option. You know, if you live in a cul-de-sac and one of your neighbor's houses is on fire and all your neighbors are telling you we're either going to use kerosene or gasoline to put this fire out. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to vote for either one of those options to put this fire out. I want water. I think we should use water. Well, Matt, water isn't an option. We're either voting for kerosene or gasoline to put the fire out. Well, then I'm not responsible for you burning the entire house down to a pile of ashes. So in that aspect, I believe you still have an opinion because you did not actively destroy the country by voting for one of the candidates chosen for you to pick from.
Yeah, that's why I never voted my whole life. I've said this publicly. When I realized that politics was not my thing was when Mitt Romney ran the first time. And I said, well, he looks the most presidential, so I would vote for him. And that's why I didn't vote until I didn't even vote for Trump in 2016. The first time I voted was 2020, and any presidential election. I never thought I was educated enough to do it, and I didn't want to be responsible for being the one vote that got some shitheel elected. And like, hey, dumbass, do you even know why you voted him in? No. So I that was always my thing. But yeah, yours makes sense. Who didn't vote? Kayla, did you vote?
Whoever.
I don't, guys. There's no format today. You're more than welcome to talk whatever. I mean, I'll go round robin because Lola, I want to get to you last because you're clearly, in Europe, you still have an opinion on these things. But Kayla, did you vote yet?
Yeah, I turned in we have mail-in ballots, but I turned mine in yesterday in person. And, like the good little trad wife that I am, I voted in exact alignment with my husband. So, that's how we do it.
You didn't fall into the whole commercial where behind the smiling shield of voter booth, you're like, you made the right choice.
Right. No.
Oh, wow.
No. The thing is about marriage, like you should marry somebody that shares your values, and we do. So copying his work is very easy.
I wish we didn't have the mail-in stuff. I would like to see a little bit more chaos where it's like you get one day, everybody gets off work or whatever it is, and the polls are open from, midnight the day before 12:01 a.m. to 12 o'clock a.m. again. I would like to see that just once. And get rid of all this other shit.
And we should give everybody the day off work. It should be a national holiday in order to make that happen.
Yep. We know there's one group of people who won't allow that to happen. Lola, you're all the way over across the pond. I know you don't give a shit about this election. Yeah, but I know you don't give a shit about this election, but you got opinions.
I do give a shit, but I don't see the point in voting. It's I don't see what difference it's going to make at this point. Very clear to me, at least, that both candidates are compromised and Jewish and are going to work for Israel's best interest, not America's. So, like what Matty just said, I agree. You said if you don't vote, you don't get to have an opinion. I'm the same, but the other way around. I think if you vote, you don't get to have an opinion because you've agreed to be ruled by them. No matter who wins, they're both the same. They're both working to the same agenda, but you've voted for one of them, so you've consented to being governed. Whereas I think if you don't vote and say, no, I have no confidence in any of them, then you can speak about it because you've not consented to being governed. I've never voted ever. I never would, but I think if I was in America in 2020, I probably would have voted for Trump. I had a Trump 2020 hat and everything, which I wore over here, which was really funny. But yeah, now I've seen Trump for what he really is. Yeah, my little savior fantasy that I had of Trump in 2020 has died now. So I just wouldn't bother personally. But I think Shiva's okay. Shiva seems all right. He seems to be the only one that's being real. But does he even get any TV time in America, or does he just sit on his webcam all the time? Does he get any sort of? No, I didn't think he would.
Nope.
That's because he's real. They won't allow him to get any sort of they won't allow him to get a big following.
You were saying
on TV and stuff.
Did you say Shiva, like Dr. Shiva?
Yeah. I follow him. I've always liked him.
When I first listened to him speak, actually, I think it was Arizona, and they had this whole like government oversight of the state of Arizona for the suspected cheating election, and it was him and another math fiduciary, and I don't remember this guy's name. Now, I was an abysmal math student. The way that Shiva broke it down and this other guy was 3 hours of utter brilliance and sense that I went, holy shit. And this is a guy who's got 3 degrees from MIT, but they didn't want to take him seriously. And of course, there was no election fraud.
Didn't he invent the email or something like that?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. How come nobody's heard of him? Well, because of saying what he's saying.
Yep.
You know, calling all their politicians out for sucking Zionist cock. He's the first one I heard to say that, and I found it funny. But it's like a known thing now.
Yep.
Everyone knows they all suck Jewish cocks. Probably
No
literally
lies
as well.
detected.
Probably literally.
Do we know who
surprise me.
owns the Dominion voting machines yet?
I don't.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I have to wonder what company it is, and if we're going to go down this rabbit hole, I wonder if there's a certain type of people who own it that, you've been saying all this time, pay attention to the signs.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, a lot of noticing, right, is what people are calling it now. And outside of the voting thing, we have seen that there is a large population. JB Pritzker's brother turned sister, who is clearly, in the tribe or the tiny hats or whatever you want to call it.
Look at Eric. I never talked to you about this. Holy crap. You're pretty well versed.
There we go.
Dude,
you're in good company.
Dude, I went down a crazy rabbit hole of what's Jennifer Pritzker. I forget her previous name, but this person clearly, donates millions of dollars to these weirdo gender bending camps or whatever you want to call it. But okay, that aside, I never voted either, right? However, dude, just living through this stuff, I don't think that if not voting or not participating, that doesn't take you out of being under the rule of these absolute morons. So you can not like Trump or whatever. I like him. I think he's funny. Whatever. He's an old guy. I think he has a dragon energy like Kanye, right? Like we know I can't say that. I'm not gonna say what doctor this was. It was a Jewish doctor. Okay, so I think he's funny, whatever. But I don't think not voting takes you out of not being ruled by these absolutely crazy people and living through it. Living in California, living in New York, dude, you gotta do something. And for the record, like I had never paid attention. So what was it? Obamacare, right? When dude, I got like a bill or something like $1,000 or something. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And that was the first time I was like, wait a minute, these people are tripping, bro. And then one of my coworkers was listening to Alex Jones, and he was like sprinkling me and all this stuff. But when you live through it, when you live through San Francisco, when you live through Oakland, when you live through tranny bars in Brooklyn, they did have good food though. But when you live through this stuff without Tucker Carlson, my dad always says, "Oh, you listen to Tucker Carlson?" Like, yeah, bro, I listen to Tucker, but that's not the reason. So when you actually live through this, me personally, I had no choice but to go vote and obviously go to the Fifth Ave store and get the actual Trump merchandise. I have no choice. And I hope, dude, Kamala Harris, bro, dude. Look, a lot of people say, oh, they vote for Kamala or they vote for Democrats because Trump's a fascist or whatever, and they vote against Trump rather than for Harris. I might say the exact opposite. I vote for Trump to spite the left, to spite Kamala Harris, to spite London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, and Garcetti, the mayor, or what's his name? Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. These people, dude, they need to get a message. Okay. So a lot of people are saying, oh, Trump needs to win the popular vote, which he probably won't, but they need to get the message that we are not having this anymore. And go to Vox.com, go to USA Today, go to The Daily Beast, and look at their posts on Instagram. This is not, maybe things are a little bit different on Twitter, but if you go to their posts and they run these crazy stories, Trump's a fascist, Trump's a dictator, Trump's this, that, and the other, and go through the comments and you'll see hundreds of people who are not buying this, right? And this is Daily Beast, this is Vox. So in theory, you would think they have their readers. Now, obviously I follow them because you got to keep your enemies closer. But when you see hundreds of comments of people saying, all right, enough of this, and then you go to Kamala's Instagram and you see hundreds of pro-Trump posts, but when you go to Donald Trump's Instagram, you do not see hundreds of pro-Kamala posts. So without any polling, without real clear politics or any of that stuff, you can take the pulse of what people are actually thinking. And I told myself, last thing here, I told myself when I went to go vote that I wasn't gonna fall into the trap and I wasn't gonna vote for things I didn't know about. But then I got there and I'm just like, bro, I hate the Democratic Party so much that it's just a spiteful vote to send them hopefully a message that a lot of people are done with you. You overplayed the hand. You had it in 2008 or 2012 or even 2016, but now it's over. Go back to the dungeon, go back to the drawing board and come up with a plan that people don't despise quite as much. Because right now, I think that's the only plan of action we have, unfortunately.
The thing is, they don't care what we want. They don't care what we think. And the rhinos on the right are the same as the Democrats on the left. It's two birds or two wings of the same bird, right? So like I see voting more as casting a bet for the Super Bowl of politics in the West, not so much as my vote really counts. I mean, I'm in California, so I don't really believe that my vote is going to make a difference necessarily, but I kind of stand with, I don't know, I'm kind of contrarian. Like I agree with all of you in where you're coming from, but I do feel like we have a situation where making your opinions heard is valuable. And if for no other reason than the fact that we still do have a constitution and the First Amendment, and we have a right to have our thoughts and feelings and opinions heard. And voting or betting is just one of those ways that we can make that happen.
I have to
That's
wonder,
fair, but I think just really quickly here, I think they want people to opt out, right? That's nothing more than a victory for the ruling establishment. So you can say, well, my vote doesn't count, and it probably doesn't count. I don't know if it does count, or I don't know if it doesn't count, but you have to weigh the situation you're in, and they would love nothing more than for people to just be completely demoralized and say, well, this doesn't even matter. So that to me feels like a victory for them, and in my mind, I just can't do it, bro.
It would be more powerful if people decided to opt out of paying their damn taxes. That would send a stronger message than just opting out of voting. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that.
that.
A lot of people say that, and I 100% agree. And I'm not gonna get too personal about my own taxes, but why are more people not doing that? Huh?
So proud of you, Dominic.
Did not file last year. I don't
Never
fucking
paid tax
care.
in my life. Ever.
I have to wonder with this massive popular vote. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't think that he's going to win. I think that they're going to cheat her somehow in. So I'm preparing for the worst. But with this whole, we've got all these young people votes. I don't know how it is by you guys, but the amount of minimum wage stores and fast food places that are closing by me is insane. They're closing, I think 300 or almost all the Red Lobster chains, Cracker Barrel, Denny's just announced they're closing 150 locations. I mean, Denny's of all places. And Denny's is a late night place, so that's kind of the trickle down effect where retailers are not getting off work, restaurant people are not getting off work and going to Denny's because they're not making money and they're not doing their jobs. I know a lot of people who are in retail who keep saying that nobody shows up to work, nobody goes to work, there is no work ethic. If that's the case, I was thinking about this. I didn't see one really 20-something or even an 18, 19-year-old in line yesterday. They were all 30 and over. I don't think that these Taylor Swift influencees who are like, yeah, we're going to rock the vote for Kamala, I don't think they have the fortitude to stand in line for 2 hours to vote. They don't go to work. So I have to wonder what that popular vote's going to do.
True.
Look, I don't know, but for the record, Denny's closed in Oakland almost a year ago. Oakland is just, I mean, I can say this because I'm from Oakland, but it is a cesspool at very best.
Scotty, what are you going to say?
Yeah. The Democratic candidate normally wins the popular vote. So Trump winning the popular vote this time around, I highly doubt. He lost it to Hillary in 2016. He lost to Biden in 2020 as well. However, I will go on record saying I selfishly do want Trump to win. And the reason for that is probably horrible, but I would love to see the misery and suffering again of 2016 of liberals.
Nothing wrong with
that.
I
would love to see.
Nothing wrong with that.
I would love to see that. I know it's horrible. I know you're saying, Scott, these are your fellow Americans. Fuck them. I don't care. I don't care. I'd like to see them miserable. And number two, I'd like to see him win because I'd like to see him go 2-0 against females in presidential elections. I don't want.
It's such a twilight zone right now with the Hillary Kamala. We got the brown version of Hillary.
Yeah, and they're both very unlikable. Kamala didn't even garner one electoral vote in this primary, nor in 2020, by the way. She dropped out even before she went to Iowa in 2020. So she didn't get any votes then. She's completely unlikable. She's completely unpopular. She was an unpopular vice president. She's an unpopular candidate.
Flash drives are not.
That's the spite vote, or that's the spite. I mean, I'm right there with you, bro. Like, look, policy aside, I just don't like these people. I mean, it just is what it is. Like they've destroyed the cities I live in. Thing. Yeah,
they're not really. I mean, are they really our fellow Americans? Because they don't hold American values at all. They don't.
Well,
that's true. Good point.
Let me go ahead and disagree with my co-host a little bit here. Although I do hate liberals and Marxists and communists, Jews, which is where the Democrat Party is moving forward or closer to, if they not already aren't. My opinion is I want to see the conservatives suffer, and here's why. They're the biggest group of fucking coward pussy faggots in this country, and let me explain how that is. And Dominic, we've said this before. We've said this before. The far left has no problem using violence in the streets to get what they want or to achieve their goals. We saw that in 2020. Sure, it's facilitated and helped out by the media and maybe government officials. However, that makes the conservative right even more cowardly. Their cities burnt to the ground. During a presidency of so-called the most anti-woke president, Donald Trump, he did nothing. Donald Trump had full authority under the U.S. Constitution, under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 of the Constitution, to enforce the laws of the land. He didn't do that. He didn't even mention doing it.
He's the head of the executive branch.
Head of the executive branch. What's the executive branch? Enforcement.
Law and order. Law and order.
Execute the laws. Also, under the 1807 Insurrection Act, he could have taken action. He did nothing, which makes the conservative leader, which is Donald Trump at this point, it makes their golden calf, their false idol, the biggest pussy on the planet. And this is why conservatives need to suffer more. Because if they suffer under a Democrat president, if Kamala wins, maybe, just maybe, these conservatives, these so-called Christians who support a candidate that's in favor of abortion, who supports a candidate that was anti-Second Amendment, more anti-Second Amendment than Obama. If anybody wishes for me to bring up every piece of evidence to explain that, I will. He printed more money than the previous president, than Obama. These Christians and conservatives supported this guy. Now, guess what? I hope they fucking lose. I hope Kamala wins, because now you faggot cunts will be pushed into a corner, backed into a corner, disenfranchised to the point where just maybe you'll get the balls to stand up and fight back. Otherwise, you will accept your tyranny under Donald Trump, just like you accepted it in 2020 when the entire country was shut down unconstitutionally and illegally. These governors violated U.S. law code and city mayors and all the other organizations, including health department from county health departments,
Liquor control
board, county health departments. They shut down and made these illegal, unconstitutional edicts to where Donald Trump would have stepped in under the Constitution. He did nothing. But what did Donald Trump do? He fast-tracked the Trump vaccine, which is responsible for however many deaths or whatever health deficiencies there were in people.
Operation Warp Speed.
Operation Warp Speed. He gave Fauci presidential accommodations at the last day in office.
No, wait, no, Matt, you're wrong. I'm sorry, I got to jump in there because I was part of that QAnon movement where we all said that, no, he's keeping Fauci on to be the fall guy. And the amount of shit cake we wore on our fucking face.
Right. He's playing 5D chess.
Lola, that was
trust the plan. Trust the plan.
Not to mention, he allowed
trust the plan. Wait for the rapture. Don't do anything.
5 million illegal immigrants came in under his watch, just as many as Obama did. Pew Research did the study, look it up. He just as many as Obama did in 8 years. And his last day in office, he gave amnesty to 200,000 illegal Venezuelans. And who's going to the Colorado apartment buildings and breaking in, and in Texas? Venezuelans.
Yeah.
This guy is the epitome. And this is my problem with conservatives. This is why conservatives are worse. They're traitors to their own fucking cause, their own beliefs, their own values, and their own principles. At least I know with the Democrats what I'm getting. At least I know they're communists. These conservatives are such sellout, pussy, faggot cunts that they won't even back up their own beliefs and their own values and principles that they claim they stand for.
Rah.
All you have to do if you doubt what Matt says is run as a conservative Republican in any election in your state, county, city, and watch how fucking true what he says is. Do you see, Eric, by the way, it has nothing to do with sexuality. Faggot is a good word. Say it once.
Well, I have a question though. So what is the best case scenario? Right, because I think we do.
Anarchy is probably the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Well, because I think my theory is, well, we need to. Unfortunately, this is like a lesser of two evils thing, and there has to be like some. You remember the meme of the kid stepping over like four stairs? Like, I understand, but I don't think we can just jump straight there. We've gone too far. So what's the best case scenario?
I don't know.
Anarchy, is that what?
I don't know, Lola. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that, but I don't know because. That's the whole Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam. I dare you to cross this line. Then he crosses. Yep. I dare you to cross this line. Then he crosses, right? And eventually we're going to be the ones who fall off the fucking cliff, not Bugs Bunny. Lola, you've been talking about that anarchy stuff for a while as well, too. What's the vibe like over in your country?
I don't really know what other people are thinking. I know what I'm thinking. I'm all for anarchy. And people have a wrong definition of anarchy. They think it means chaos and madness, but it doesn't. It just means no rulers, or you choose your own rulers properly. Not with these fake rigged elections. You're all worried about who's going to win. It's rigged. So, it can't get stolen like it did in 2020. It's rigged. So I'll tell you what I've noticed. I feel like the left and the right now, I've seen it on both sides. The right are so terrified if Kamala gets in because America's going to be destroyed. And at the same time, the leftards are terrified of Trump and Project 2025. And they think they're going to get rounded up and put in camps as well. So both sides have got so much fear of the other one winning. And I'm sorry, guys, you've all just proved it with what you've just said. All this is doing is stoking animosity between the left and right. It's divide and conquer. It's causing friction. Some of you have just said, you've only voted to fight the other side. So you've been brainwashed. And I agree, I don't like them either. They're all fucking cunts. But this is what the ruling establishment wants. They want us fighting against each other instead of actually looking up and seeing who's causing all the real problems. And I used to be a huge fan of Trump. I really like his character that he plays, that he acts out so well. I really like it, but that's all it is. It's an act. He's performing, and I think people can probably remember his presidency, and I think he got America in a pretty good position, and if you understood economics and politics and stuff, people were happy with Trump as a president and the position that he got America in. People remember that, and I think they're kind of hoping for that to come back if he wins again. But by doing that, they've forgotten that he pushed the vaccine and said that Operation Warp Speed was his greatest ever accomplishment. And, you know, he recommended ventilators, and still to this day says how great they were, even though they killed pretty much nearly everyone that used them. He signed the CARES Act. He did the bank bailout. Like, he's not done anything. He didn't drain the swamp. He didn't lock Hillary up. He didn't do shit. He told everyone to go and get injected. And, he's just lied. He's lied. But the character that he plays, it's a likable character. He's funny. You know, I like watching him. I like watching him roast people. It's funny. But, you know, he's not a leader, and he's not going to help anyone. It's just giving people the idea. And also as well, you said earlier that you think that the government really wouldn't want people voting. That's the last thing they want. Well, all I've seen from every politician is they're really, really heavy. You must vote. It's really important. You've got the right to vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Every time.
Yep.
Governments lie. And usually what they say, it's the opposite that's true. So why, if it's rigged and it's not a real election and they know what's going to happen anyway, and if they're both working for the same corporate bodies or Jews or whatever, and they're all working towards the same agendas and your opinions don't matter, why would they want you to vote so much? It's not because your vote makes a difference. Look at what happened in 2020. Trump won. He clearly won by a landslide. And then what did they do? They started putting boards up in all the polling stations, and shit, you know, votes were going missing, and all this clear fraud that was happening. Clear. Again, that was a performance. They want you to know that your vote means nothing. They want you to know that no matter what, they're going to get their way anyway.
We are such a dumb society to where what you just described as gaslighting, right? It's like, go out and vote, get your hopes up and all this shit. And the answer, like you've got now this push for misinformation to be prosecuted and punishable. And it's going to be on the American citizen. Clearly, there was the gentleman who served, I think, like 16 months in federal prison for creating a meme in the 2016 election that said you could text your vote in for Hillary Clinton. He got fucking arrested and convicted in federal prison. He had to go serve time. Obama the other day was up again, and this was just 2 days ago, talking about how Trump's talking about very fine people on both sides. And it hit me until specifically, and I don't care what red flag this gives off, Barack Obama, if he says that blatant, proven lie, and he's a political figurehead in one of the biggest positions of influence on the planet, he should be tried, prosecuted, and put to fucking death if they spread those fucking lies like that. Some mail carrier was just caught, I think, like dumping 200 and some odd votes in the garbage after finding out they were a conservative. That is, what was it? Oppressing somebody else's right. She should be tried and, if convicted, put to fucking death. Until we start having some incredibly severe consequences for these blatant actions that just, they spark, because we know people are stupid. They're never, our level of intelligence as human beings, apparently nobody wants to be fucking stupid. So the handlers, until the handlers are held accountable, I don't want to hear shit about us, because we deserve everything we fucking get when it comes down to being gaslit then.
Who's going to hold them accountable?
I think we've come too far.
I don't know at that point. I don't got the solution. I got the suggestion. That's the problem.
Law enforcement are the ones who have to make arrests.
Well, we know
law
them.
Enforcement are they're paid by pension benefit and paychecks.
Yep.
They're going to do whatever the fuck they're told, because police, unfortunately, are the number one enemy in this country, holistically speaking. Name one law they enforced during COVID that was unconstitutional, that when they violated the Constitution. Not one motherfucker. No, they didn't arrest anybody for violating constitutional rights. How many people got arrested for ballot fraud, voter fraud in 2020? Nobody. The mailman that dumped the ballots. Other people are caught on camera stuffing ballot boxes. Nobody got arrested. No one's even investigated. Federal level, state level, county level, local level. Law enforcement is the number one problem in this country because all they are, in my opinion, is bodyguards for tyrants. And without the police, politicians would just be dead guys.
No, where's the lie?
In New York, I know about this firsthand from the Rona hysteria, but those cops in New York specifically, I don't know about all police stations across the country, but those guys were quite literally de Blasio's henchmen. I mean, we filed suits. We filed several suits. They all got, I mean, there's no adults in the room. So you could run it up the ladder and it's just going to, Tish James is at the top of the ladder and she's going to say, no, well, you didn't wear a mask when you were around a dozen people. So that much is absolutely true. Just unfortunately, this is, in my opinion, obviously just a lesser of two evils battle. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, we will never vote for the lesser of two evils, but it is what it is. That's where we are. Like, me personally, I would vote for Kanye West any day of the week, but that ship sailed.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's such a bad idea to exercise our Second Amendment rights. I don't know why that's such like a big thing. Like,
because it requires courage, it requires strength, it requires risk, it requires sacrifice. And this country are so emasculated, they don't want to sacrifice.
Scotty, I don't mean to interrupt you. Oh, it's blatant, and I'll take this back to racial. If I just tell you there is a white guy and a black guy, and they're having an argument in the middle of Woodfield Mall over who had the right of way, which one do you think is going to swing without thinking?
Black guy.
100% of the time. White guys are afraid to do shit. I don't know where that's come. I don't know culturally, because everything you just described about taking up Second Amendment or whatnot, if we do make up a majority of the population, good fucking luck. You're going to have a bunch of people with that Molon Labe flag and they're fucking all this shit. and they're going to be I've said it a million times. If I have sick daydreams sometimes, and I hope they never come true. But, God forbid something happens and law enforcement shows up at my door. I want to look like Willem Dafoe in Platoon, but facing forward, right? And that's because I've run out of ammo. And people are like, well, what would happen if the police came to seize your guns? Unconstitutionally? No, it's just not going to happen. But I can guarantee you that if my neighbors, like if they said, yeah, we're in alignment with you, and they saw what happens to me and my lifeless aerated body is now all over the fucking front lawn, they're going to be the first ones to go, here you go. And that's how everybody is. And that's specifically white culture. We are a bunch of fucking pussies.
So why, to your point, and why is it, this genuine question, why does it seem as though largely black guys are ready, willing, they're not talking about, Second Amendment. They just know, we bust back or we bust first. It doesn't even matter.
They're protection. This protection and no accountability. There's two groups, and we all know what they are, that if you insulted them, if you said anything to them, if Johnny and James got in a playground fight and James is black and James took a first punch, nothing's going to happen. But if Johnny does, Johnny's consequences are gonna be huge, and that started to become generational. So it's blacks and Jews. You cannot criticize them in any way, shape, or form. There is this massive feeling of untouchable superiority, and blacks resort to violence, and Jews resort to destroying your life financially.
White conservative Christians are the biggest fans of
blacks and Jews.
At least half that equation, yes.
Jews. The evangelical Christians are the biggest Zionists.
100%.
Yep.
That's not 100%. Even close. Yes, 100% true, and that's because of the Schofield Bible. The Schofield Bible came out in 1909, and it's true. But both these candidates, by the way, have a strong connection to Israel, and their cabinets will both be overwhelmingly represented by Jewish people, just like the Biden cabinet now, just like Trump's cabinet was in 2016. Yep. Jared Kushner was put in charge of the Middle East over there. They did sign the Abraham Accords, which I believe was the UAE, Jordan, Israel getting together, signed the Abraham Accords.
And they moved the thing from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
Goim Heights is now Trump Heights. They're designing a whole piece of real estate. There's a coin over there with Trump's face on it. Actually, it's a shekel with Trump's face on it. So there's a connection there. Doug Emhoff is the husband of Kamala Harris. He's Jewish. That their whole, either way you're looking at this election, there's going to be Jewish influence backing both of these candidates, regardless of who gets in, regardless of who the president-elect is going to be today. And we're probably not even going to find out today. It's probably going to, like, they keep giving us and foreshadowing us like little tells. They're already saying like it's going to take weeks to count the votes. So maybe Kamala does win this
in January.
Right.
Yeah. Either way, Israel wins. So
yeah.
I mean, I just want to preface this and say, like, I am a friend of Jews. I love Seinfeld. Okay, it's one of my favorite shows.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
Larry David, I think, is funny. But largely, and again, I've talked to other people about this. One of my buddies, who we were joking, like three of us, like two of us were constantly like throwing the Jew thing at him because we know it kind of really riled him up. But how? It's kind of like, how did this become? I mean, was this the 60s? Is this the 50s? Is this much longer? How did how did they become so strong? I mean, genuinely, I don't know. Like, perhaps that's before my time. It seems like every time you look into something, every time, whether it's the media, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's banking, whether it's real estate in Brooklyn, every single time.
Lola, how far back does that go?
Correct.
Well, I would like to say that it's my stance is that it's not the Jewish people, it's the synagogue of Satan that Christ calls out in Revelation. So the synagogue of Satan has always hidden behind the culture of the time, right? And it just so happens that the Jews are a very convenient culture to appropriate and to hide behind. But they have their tentacles in every single corner, every single religion, every single corner of this world. And so that's kind of my stance on it.
Young Thug, all these rappers, Gunna. I mean, all these people, they're funded by Leor Cohen and Rick Rubin and all this stuff. It's just
Clive Davis. Yeah,
it's Babylon. The whole system is Babylon. So hate the game, hate the player, I guess. But untangling that web is a full-time job, and
I'm not suicidal. I promise.
Exactly. Like, probably would. I guess one of my questions is going back to like what Scott was just saying. If we're having to choose the lesser of the two evils for sake of conversation, a lot of people, and I'm kind of inclined to agree with them, are saying that they're choosing to vote for Trump's team because we had peace in the Middle East during his last administration. He was a peace dealer, peace broker, and they believe that that's going to be the same case here in this next administration, versus what we have with Kamala's side, where the military-industrial complex is in bed with everyone on that. I mean, we have Dick Cheney being celebrated now as being a part of. I mean, what is happening? Like, the Democrats are celebrating Dick Cheney. It's absolute madness. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so both sides are quote unquote owned by the synagogue of Satan, but here we are. One side is pro-war and one side is anti-war. So like, I'm inclined to throw my bet in with the side that's anti-war, but can anyone reconcile that we're both, all sides are owned?
Yeah, right. So here's the thing. Well, Trump isn't really peace in the Middle East. He bombed Syria. He targeted General Soleimani, the Iranian general. He killed him. He did so again, which in my opinion could have started World War III with Iran. And he was the number one fighter of ISIS. So why are you killing the number one fighter of ISIS? Unless, of course, ISIS isn't really what they say it is, because ISIS coincidentally never attacked Israel ever. As a matter of fact, Israel had given ISIS fighters medical aid during a couple of their combat sessions. Number two, I believe, I don't agree with what you said, because both parties and both candidates solely support Israel. Donald Trump just said in his last rally that he had, we have to protect Israel at all costs. I'm going to give them the military aid they need. They deserve to live in peace, blah, blah, blah. Iran is the number one threat. He even said that Iran was responsible for his assassination attempts. He literally said that. Kamala, same thing in an interview. She said Iran is our number one threat. And to say that one party's anti-war and the other one's pro-war, well, the neocons are the pro-war ones. They, historically speaking, have been the pro-war ones. However, the Democrats have no problem killing.
Now.
Yeah, it's wild to see. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dick Cheney thing's bizarre. To see him come out and endorse Kamala Harris was strange, and then for the left to celebrate that when this guy apparently, you're getting two narratives here from the left. The left now is saying that Kamala is not responsible for anything that's happened in Gaza. She's not in charge. She's only the vice president. The vice president really doesn't do anything. Yet when Bush and Cheney were in office, Cheney was the one running the show, according to the left. Cheney was the one in charge. He was the one pulling the strings. So it's either the vice president is responsible for nothing, or in Cheney's case, he was responsible for everything, which now, by the way, the same left that was criticizing Dick Cheney for being a warmonger is celebrating his endorsement of Kamala Harris. But to the point, I do agree that during Trump's presidency, there was less conflict. There wasn't Ukraine. Ukraine wasn't happening. Putin was pretty much in check at that point. He was willing to meet with the leader of North Korea, which I thought was a good thing. And you didn't see the conflict that you see now today. Even, you have to put the full blame of the pullout in Afghanistan on Biden, not on Trump.
Mm-hmm. So isn't that anti-war pulling out, not having war anymore?
That it is, but the pullout was absolutely atrocious.
Well,
it was.
So you're either going to be pro-war or anti-war. Pulling out is anti-war.
Right.
But leaving billions of dollars worth of war weaponry over there is not exactly anti-war.
That's a different argument. You're pulling your troops out of harm's way, right, whether you agree with the war or not.
Well,
now
13 service members did die in that pullout.
Right.
So it wasn't done very well.
Yeah,
it wasn't done very well, and leaving billions of dollars in equipment over there for now the Taliban to use.
And how many more would be dead if you continue the war?
True.
More than 13, I bet.
True.
Okay. So I'm just saying it's all screwed up.
Just full disclosure. I mean, I truly am not, as one bartender once put it, I'm not the expert on geopolitics. So set that aside. But more importantly, bro, when you have these people, I'm sorry, when you have these people, these gender benders, they're chopping up kids, we all remember Rachel Levine, right? That is absolutely bizarre, right? If you have Richard, bro, in your 60s, you decide, I'm a lady now. Get the hell out of here,
ethnicity?
bro.
What's her ethnicity? Dominic, ring the bell, please.
Hang on. The inappropriate bell on my show has now been commandeered.
And also, what presidential candidate just came out and said they're in favor of gender reassignment surgery for minors as long as they have parental consent? Which candidate came out and said that?
Trick question here.
I didn't hear that.
Don't fucking tell me he said that.
Did he really? The video, Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
2 weeks ago, Donald Trump.
Wow.
As long as they have
I didn't get that
now.
memo, unfortunately.
Well, it was
probably better for him.
Well, I'm just saying there's no difference between the two. In his defense, he's just controlled by everybody else, so he's no different.
Wow.
Yep.
But when we start hearing about these, bro, I'm old enough to remember a time when this wasn't even a conversation. Bro, I went to school. I grew up in Oakland, California. Wasn't even a conversation. We had I think a lot of people had, there's 1 or 2 gay kids in the class. You kind of joked about it. But now, bro, we used to see a 6'3" guy with a size 13 shoe on the bus, and everybody knew, this is a guy dressed up as a lady, and it was a joke. But now, maybe 10 years ago, they're pretending that this is realistic, and then you got Camel Toe. I'll have to look into that. That's very scary for me. Trump saying that stuff, which I don't know. Maybe they didn't. You think they would? No, maybe the left wouldn't blast that out. The right wouldn't blast that. I don't know. But when did this happen? I blame Twitter personally. But when did it come from? These are just some weirdo guys having a fun hobby to like, no, it is ma'am. Like, when did that happen?
Within the past 4 years.
Yep.
Caitlyn Jenner, who killed a man as Bruce and then decided.
That's true.
And who said that Caitlyn Jenner can use any of the bathrooms, either one, in his hotels? Can you name the presidential candidate?
Here's the thing: the problem here is with the Republican Party is they believe they need to change their values to come further to the middle because they believe the media narrative that everybody doesn't like them. The Republican Party's racist. They're greedy. They don't care about old people. They don't care about the environment. So now the Republican Party now has to compromise their own values and go further to the left.
Yep.
Because they believe that's the only way they're going to be elected. They have to change their stance on abortion. And now the popular opinion of the country is nobody's for a national abortion ban. Nobody's for that. So the Republican Party now has to move on that. Gay marriage, the Republican Party has to move on that. Everything has been moved further and further to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Overton window keeps shifting.
Yes, that's right. Correct.
That's correct.
Yes.
And they believe they have to do that to get votes. That's why they're doing it.
Even like anecdotally, I remember Tony Hinchcliffe. Everybody is mad. He's gay, right? Isn't that dude gay? But anyways, Tony Hinchcliffe makes a joke about Puerto Rico, and I had people tell me, like, conservatives, maybe not Republicans, but like they've seen a little bit too much. And they're saying, oh well, he shouldn't have made that joke. And I'm like, that's exactly how it got this bad. Is because you are capitulating to that one dude. He's a roast comedian. He made a joke. Yeah. Maybe you laughed, maybe you didn't. But for you to tell me that, well, he shouldn't have done that. That's exactly how we got here. So I totally understand where you're coming from, but I'm still of the opinion that I'm doing the lesser of two evils. It just is what it is.
Lolo, what do you think? You haven't spoken in a while.
About what? Sorry, I've had loads go through my head and like come in and go out, but about what specifically? I'm just listening.
Anything we're talking about here?
Okay. I think the reason the trans agenda's kind of sped up and gone so crazy now, to the point where you've got fully grown hairy ass men with beards saying that they're a woman and they can go in women's bathrooms and stuff. That sort of madness. They just used to be cross dressers, and everybody knew what they were, But transsexuals were a different thing. It was a very small, very, very tiny percentage that have the medical disorder. These people are just fucking retards, nuts, attention seekers. And they're getting celebrated now. But this agenda's been in the pipeline for a very long time. Like, I think I've seen recently that in the 90s, like, there was a Biggie video with a tranny in it. And there's a scene where she goes to the urinal and do you know what I mean? This is in the 90s. But they started plugging little things then, but I feel like every bit of madness has ramped up since 2020. Everything. I feel like the world has got more and more crazy. I don't know if I'm just noticing things, but
no, you're right.
I feel like there's a lot more crazy people on the internet now talking, or maybe I'm just noticing them, but yeah,
noticing too much.
It's definitely been sped up.
Everything has been exponential. Every one of us is old enough to remember when our parents.
They're trying to break down society as it is now.
Well,
nobody break down normal society.
Nobody talks about their
and normalize all this stupid shit. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm talking over you. Nobody talked about their politics when I was a kid. Nobody, and now that's all their identity is. I'm either a Trump supporter or I'm a Harris supporter. I'm a Biden supporter. It went from like my parents married 52 years. One was a Democrat all the way till Obama. Then she switched. My father's always been Republican. They never talk politics. Now everybody, it's like, hey, you're going to go on a date? Sure. What side are you voting for? Oh, I can't go out if you're a Trump supporter.
And these people, they have been working at this divide and conquer strategy or whatever, all this madness for many years. I found out recently, and maybe this is common knowledge, but if you go back to like the early 90s, before California even had before California even had medical marijuana, the Open Society Foundation was pushing for it. Nobody wants to talk about the Jews.
No, it's all we do.
We're talking about weed.
But my point is, they work at this for decades. So in 1992 or something, George Soros and the Open Society Foundation says, we're going to push for medical marijuana. Now you see 30 years later, 40 years later, of course, like where there's a weed store in every single corner, because if you're not in my head, you are either going to be a full-on junkie self-vaccinating under the Bay Bridge, or we'll get you as close as humanly possible, and you can just smoke weed all day. And don't get me wrong, I like smoking weed, whatever. But like, they want you to smoke it every single day, and for decades, they put it on every single music video. They put it on every single. I mean, they have delivery services, huge billboards in Oakland. Right after you get out the Oakland airport, there's a billboard that says, well, I'm paraphrasing here, but come here to kill your baby. And then you drive one block and it's like an Ease billboard now. Ease has since gone out of business. That's a little bit of a different story. But so you get off the airplane and it says, come here for abortion. And then you drive one block and it says, you can get the weed delivered to your hotel. And they've been working at this for 40, 50 years, I think, since before I was born. And I guess it's coming to fruition, or maybe
I want to ask a question, Eric. How many black people are specifically voting for Harris because of her? Because weed is black culture. It's pumped into all their music videos and all this shit and blah blah. Heroin is a white person's drug, cocaine, all that.
But
shit.
not liquid heroin. That's black people.
No.
Right? I mean, lean. They sip lean all day, bro. They pretend like let's just put the Jolly Ranchers in the
Robitussin and Jolly Ranchers. Yeah. Anyways. How many people are basing their vote culturally wise on a woman who, and this is like, I hate saying this. I fucking hate saying this. If we're going to branch down into it, how many black men did Kamala Harris put in prison? Quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
And how
In
many
California.
and how many on fucking weed charges? Quite a few. And now these same fucking low IQ dumbbells are going to vote for her because she's a woman of color and because she's going to legalize weed. I mean,
I don't know.
Because they are low IQ.
What's that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. What?
I said they are low IQ.
Yeah, well,
I said they are low IQ. So they don't know any of that. And they won't take the time to research what she's done and what she's said. And they won't take the time to research it. They just watch CNN and see little clips of Trump. And then they've made the decision. I really think most people who are voting for Kamala are doing it because anything's better than Trump. And you ask them, what's your favorite thing that Kamala's done? They haven't got an answer. They haven't got anything. They're just doing it because they hate Trump, because they're so programmed. And then you can ask them, why do you hate Trump? Oh, he's racist. Okay, when was he racist? They've got nothing up there. They just repeat things what they've heard on TV. And they're uneducated, so they're not going to know any of that, are they?
That is true. They don't know.
Be happy that Trump's not in.
Going to a Kamala rally, which I'm still getting nonstop emails and text messages for one stupid rally, which I highly encourage everybody to go check out, because to your point, exactly. I was genuinely, I'm not joking. I was genuinely went in there expecting for it not to be quite as bad as what the internet might tell me every single day. But these people are genuinely stupid. Like, it's crazy. Like, they can't. Yeah.
And they know they're stupid as well. They know it. That's why they have Cardi B and Beyonce. That's why they have all these stupid celebrities come out, because they're stupid and they idolize celebrities and they don't know anything about politics.
But some of them think they're smart.
They know they're stupid and they're...
But which is almost worse. Some of them do think they're smart, and they will talk. They get their cues straight from Kamala Harris. So they will talk in circles, pretending like, oh, well, we had the first woman, this, that, and the other. And then like, Shirley Chisholm or whatever, 1975 or something like that. And then they will go on and on about like, we're so ready for a woman. But they get stumped with the simplest, most predictable question. Well, what is a woman? And then they break down into this absolute blithering mess of nonsense. But on the plus side, and Dom, I think you know this, and I could be completely off base, but probably not. I don't think everybody is quite as stupid, right? This is how the media works in two ways, at least, right? So they can brainwash a bunch of stupid people, but they can also trick rational people into believing that everybody else is stupid. We're all here. We're not stupid. We can have a conversation. And I talk to loads of people from the Bay Area and New York. And that's obviously anecdotal evidence. But I don't think the majority of people are quite as stupid as the media would have you believe.
No, I think it's influential, though. And if I'm going to pick on the black community for a second, you could take me, right? I'm tired all the time. I'm tired because I'm severely overweight, because I probably have like 30% body fat. I'm so out of shape. And that's going to do a number on my cardio system, and that's gonna my brain fog and all this. I'm not gonna sleep well. I'll be highly irritable. So if there's a good decision, and somebody goes, "Hey, listen, let's go eat good tonight," or somebody goes, "Hey, let's order pizza," because I'm already in the camp of easily manipulative and influenced and just kind of defeated. I'm gonna go. Let's go with fuck and make the bad decision for pizza. And I'm giving you a very, very, very sliver of an analogy.
I thought you were going to go into like an ad read.
No, what you take the black community, which is they're highly concentrated. Lola's done these shows with me. Kayla's done these shows with me. We talk about the vibration, the frequency, the food, the alcohol, the drugs, the violence that's pumped into their community. That's stimulus overload. I do not think those people have the brain capacity to process information like a normal, calm, fit, educated human being. I honestly
They're
think
not sober-minded.
That summed it right up right there.
It's been studied. It's been studied that they have lower IQs.
And the music, the vibrations or whatever people, and don't get me wrong, bro. I like Future. I think Future's good. It's a good beat, whatever. I grew up on that. But I am old enough to understand that, bro, a lot of these people, they're no different from actors, which have become completely compromised as well. And it's not like you keep up with these. It's not like I personally keep up with these people, right, to today. But, 2016, 2017, since I was a kid all the way up until like the first Trump term, you kind of vibe out to that stuff and listen to this music. And then you sort of back out a little bit and see exactly not exactly, but see that it's kind of playing a part in the demise of a lot of these, a lot of this quote unquote culture. You got guys like NBA Youngboy, you got Lil Durk. I mean, this is Young Thug. Now, Young Thug is an incredibly interesting case.
It's all influential. I mean, if you look at it
by a completely corrupt.
No, yeah, but nobody cares because it's all on a dumbed down level. If I go to the gym and I want to hit a PR on a squat or a bench, I'm not going to play fucking Rachmaninoff. I'm going to play Holier Than Thou by Metallica because it's state changing. So when you put that fucking, just when you look at it, that hip hop is just nothing but bass drums, like the fucking African Serengeti. Like there's a giant campfire and they're all got the face paint on, dancing around the fire, getting ready to go hunt a fucking lion. They're changing their state. So when you put that in their culture nonstop and then counter it with weed and depressants like booze and then fucking crack and blow it up, the black culture's minds are physically being deteriorated from the inside.
And who's responsible for that?
Probably rich white Jews.
We've been culturally subverted here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no question. And this has been pushed on us through the music industry, Hollywood, you name it, sitcoms, media,
NAACP. Who started that organization, by the way, Dominic?
Ring the bell. We're constantly being forced these things down our throat, and it's pushing degeneracy. It's my opinion is, and you can look back at a lot of the communist ideals. They look to push the destruction of the nuclear family. That's the thing that holds society together. A traditionally nuclear family of a husband, a wife, and children. They look to push that to be destroyed, and they continually push this degenerate narrative. I mean, you look Cardi B, wet ass pussy. I mean, these things are absolutely disgusting. When you break down the lyrics of a lot of these songs, it's absolute filth.
She's
it's
a
disgusting.
Self-admitted fucking woman who drugged men, robbed them, and apparently I read one article where she had stated that she had these men anally violated by other men, so that she did the whole fucking Epstein type of, and this is alleged, I read this once, I can't find the article, that when the guys would sober up and say, fuck you, you just drugged and robbed me, well, go ahead, call the police, I got video of you getting fucked in the ass by a guy.
Yeah.
And she's their representative? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I think we all know Beyonce is like a high priestess witch.
Sasha Fierce. Her alter ego, Sasha Fierce.
We've got that going on too. Like everyone that gets what's that music award? The biggest music award. I can't think right now.
Grammys.
Thank you. Okay. Everyone that gets a Grammy, who do they thank?
Beyonce.
Do
you know who didn't?
You got to thank Beyonce, or she'll kill you, literally.
Do you know who didn't? Do you know who didn't thank her?
Taylor Swift, and Kanye saved her.
Yeah. Also, Amy Winehouse didn't, and then she died like very shortly after.
Fucking, she
Very
was
true.
so
Interesting.
She was talented.
Very true.
People are even
Wendy
saying that
Williams.
she had something to do with Aaliyah dying way back in the day. That's
Going
just,
down the
you know,
rabbit hole here. I don't even know about this.
Yeah, that's internet lore, but basically, you know, so she could remain, or she could become, because that was early on, that was late 90s, early 2000s. So she could become the top R&B priestess, queen, witch, whatever, and they got rid of Aaliyah. Again, that's internet lore.
It's all blood sacrifice and satanic ritual abuse. So it goes back to this is a spiritual war, and the physical realm that we all live in, and we're all talking about, you know, politics and stuff. These are all ramifications of what's happening in the spiritual realm. And
Satanic. Who started the Satanic Church again?
the synagogue of Satan.
Look.
Yeah,
I'm getting good at this.
I'm sure you're happy.
Yeah, that's
We
awesome.
gotta do some predictions and stuff here for a second. I've kept you guys on. I'm not bad today. Do not forget to go to Spreely.com and check out all the other shows on there, like the Burn Pit Podcast, Report, and Opine. You can check out and go ahead and just follow Lola and Lola Christina on Instagram, and Flex Your Feminine on Instagram as well too. All of these awesome people join me during the week. When it comes down to that, and where's my theme shit? All right, now we do have to catch up because I wasn't here yesterday. We have to play how many people have been shot and killed so far. Now I'm gonna give each one of you guys a guess. We're in the first 5. We've only had 5 days. 5 days in the month of November in the city of Chicago. How many people have been killed? And we're going to say it's a 4-day period because the day 5 numbers have not been updated. So in the first 4 days of the month of November, Eric, how many people have been killed in the city of Chicago?
12.
Scott and Matt.
I'll go with 10.
I'm going to be crazy and say 0.
Lola.
6 gorillion.
Wow. Oh, shit. And Kayla.
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to say 75.
It would be close. The number of people killed was 6, just not trillion. All right, so now the question is, how many people have been shot? How many people have been shot? You still can survive, but how many people have been shot in the first 4 days in the city of Chicago? Eric.
16.
Scotty and Matt.
I'll say 27.
I'll say 30.
Lola.
I'll say 33.
And Kayla.
I was going to say 33, Lola.
Good number. Good
Close.
number to go with.
Pretty good. You guys, it's 32 people have been shot. That is 8 people every day in this Black Lives Matter city.
Wow.
There you
Good
go.
for them. I mean, they're strong, they're resilient, they're getting shot, they're getting back up. Glass half full.
Shit. Oh, we like to thank HeyJackass.com for those numbers. So far, year to date, there's been 525 people killed in the first 10 months of the year in 2024 in Chicago, and 2,670 people have been shot in the city of Chicago for the first 10 months. That's 270 people every fucking month. 270 people every Black lives do not matter in this fucking city, but you could sure as hell blame a white guy for it. Let's go around the room here. I want to hear predictions. Kayla, go to you first. It's a road to 270 for the Electoral College votes. Whatever you want, popular vote, electoral vote. Who do you think is going to take it tonight?
I don't think we're going to have an answer tonight, but I think Trump is going to win the election, and then we're going to have an issue when it comes to the certification in January.
Lola.
I think same. I think Trump's going to win. And then they'll let the right think that they've won and celebrate, and they'll let the left go crazy and burn shit. And then they'll find something, some loophole, something about him maybe being a felon, not being allowed to be president, and they'll do something. And then they'll either get him out or they'll kill him. Not really kill him. But, you know, and then the right will go crazy, and then you've got a civil war.
Oh,
that's what I think is going to happen.
Fucking fine with that. Burn Pit Podcast, gents. What do you guys think?
I think Trump goes 2-0 against women in elections. I don't think we get a female president. And I think that it would probably take a week or two, but I think the writing will be on the wall tonight. I think you'll see him get back some of the states he won in 2016. I think PA goes red. I think Arizona goes red. I think Georgia goes red. I even think Nevada will go red. And I think there's 2 states out there that I think will be interesting and in play. I don't know if he gets them, but I think New Hampshire and Virginia are also going to be on the possibility of him going and getting those states and going red. You heard it here. No one else is calling that, but Virginia and New Hampshire, I think you might see those states turn.
I think all 538 electoral votes will be going for Israel. Go ahead, Eric.
That too.
I think Trump will narrowly lose the popular vote and narrowly win the electoral vote. It's going to be very slippery. But on the plus side, I think we have hit a wall. I don't think there's going to be burning and looting. We see these videos of stores boarding up, plywood and all that stuff. I think that was all controlled, and even the powers that be are going to say, all right, let's not do it this time. And hopefully, this is me, obviously glass half full. They're going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to go back to the dungeon, and they're going to come up with a tiny bit more likable candidate for the next selection.
Oh, there you have it. T-shirt idea for you guys of the Burn Pit. You should have just says barefoot pregnant sandwich maker for a women's T-shirt.
I'm thinking of Auschwitz swim team.
Oh God! Oh,
that's right,
Auschwitz,
Matty Wack.
Matty
Wack. He's a national treasure.
Auschwitz talent contest winner. Because the piano, everything was fucking wrong. You guys have really,
block one.
I've really fucking
grand piano.
Yeah. You can tune a piano, you can't tune a fish. Can't whatever. Guys, that's it. Today was Tuesday. If you haven't voted, go out and fucking vote. Do your civic duty. Get a pitchfork. That's right.
Yeah.
New York 2020, Gotham Unglued. Eric Butler, go on there. We need 10 purchases. 10 of you fuckers go buy it to cover that cunt who returned theirs for Eric's shit. Other than that, go check out the Burn Pit Podcast, Flex Your Feminine and Lola Christina. Appreciate all you guys, and then you'll see them right during the week. I think, tomorrow's Tuesday. You guys back for the Burn Pit tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah. All right, Burn Pit will be on tomorrow, and we'll fucking see how this mess goes. Guys, have a great damn day. Go out and vote. Go help somebody today, and if you can't help them, do not hurt them. See you guys tomorrow.